Welcome to the Bush League Huddle Fantasy Football Podcast, your main resource for 2QB fantasy insights, smart bets, and winning props. Hosted by Fab, Nacc, and Raj.
Championship Sunday is set with two rematches from the regular season. The refs, Chiefs at Bills, and the Commies and the Eagles. Guys, what a divisional round it was. That was awesome. We have the Nacc Bowl. The Nacc Bowl for the Championship Sunday.
The Nacc Bowl.
The Nacc Bowl?
Chiefs and Bills, Nacc's two favorite players.
Everyone kills me for loving football. Sorry to like the good players. I'm sorry.
You like them more than you like them more than your own team.
When your own team sucks, it's kind of easy.
Well, that's what fantasy does to you, right?
Is it just fantasy?
Oh, it's not even fantasy. No, it's not fantasy.
Well, it helps that you had Josh Allen like 3 years in a row.
I love those players.
So yeah, I think the stage is set, guys. It's going to be a great championship Sunday. Obviously, it was a really good divisional round as well. I would say way better than wildcard weekend. Any high-level thoughts from the games this past weekend? Obviously, the Bills and Ravens, that was the most sought-after game. And then there was the Commanders and Lions. But Nacc, you want to provide some of your high-level thoughts from the games this past weekend?
Yeah, it's crazy. So the going into that Bills and Ravens games, it's wild to me. I saw a stat they showed on TV on the screen. Lamar Jackson, 2 or more turnovers in a game. It does not happen very often in the regular season, but it happens 50% of the time in the playoffs. So I think now it's become more than a track record. Like you could kind of say like this guy just he doesn't have it in the playoffs for whatever reasons. You could blame players, you could blame whatever, but you know what? He still had a horrible pick last night. He had a horrible fumble when trying to do too much when he should have just gone down. And I think he just gets into his head. So I don't know. I think he's that guy that's just going to win those MVPs and just not going to do it in the big games, unfortunately, especially with the big guys that are kind of around.
You know who he reminds me of?
Tell me.
Peyton Manning.
Well,
that's pretty good description. That's pretty good.
This is Peyton Manning when Tom Brady was the boogeyman. The Steelers, I think, were a boogeyman for him too, and he finally got it going. And you saw the monkey was off Peyton Manning's back when that happened, but it took a long time. You were gonna say, Fab?
I agree with you 100%. I was gonna say the exact same thing. And like Lamar Jackson's in year 7. Like this is not going to be his MO for the rest of his career. He's going to have a very, very long career. There's going to be countless opportunities for him to go to the Super Bowl. Like I'm not like, yeah, it looks very bad in a vacuum right now for sure. Especially when you look at his touchdown to INT ratio, like in playoff games, it's like 11-13 or something. Like it's not good at all. But you know, like you can't crown him just yet. The guy's he's a stud. But one stat though. And I guess it's likely at this point, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but he's expected to win his 3rd MVP, and he would be the only quarterback to win 3 MVPs and not make a Super Bowl appearance, which sucks.
Honestly,
right? to be part of that statistic. But if I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan right now, like I'm still not losing hope, to be honest with you. Like it's just a matter of time.
I don't think he wins.
No, I don't think you can say that. You can't say that right now. We're so early on in his career.
No. I'm saying MVP. I know you mentioned MVP. Like he's not going to win.
The only reason why I say that is because he was first team All Pro, and Allen was second. And like at this point now,
the All Pro he has the stats. The stats were slightly better than.
I'm saying the voting already went in. The voting already went in, right? So
no, for sure. I'm not necessarily on this game.
Likely it's going to be him. It's not for sure, obviously, but
I don't.
If I'm him, I don't want to win that. I mean, going up on stage again at another NFL honors just before the Super Bowl, you're gonna get another MVP, but you're bound. Like the guys who are going to the Super Bowl are not at NFL honors. They're like practicing for the game, right? So if I'm him, I don't want to be there. Like, what are you gonna say again?
And I just feel like MVP stands for so much more. Like, dude, the guy had a 2,000-yard rusher on his team, right? Like. 2,000 yards we're talking, right? Like Josh Allen was the team. Like that to me signifies MVP, most valuable player on that team. Without Josh Allen, that team is nobody. The Ravens have proven to win without Lamar Jackson. And I'm sorry, you have a 2,000-yard rusher.
When have they
No,
been proven to win?
I have to agree with Nacc on this too. If you look at even the talent around Josh Allen versus the talent that's around around Lamar Jackson, even from a defensive point of view, from a coaching staff point of view, from like so many facets, like Josh Allen did so much more with less. I mean, it sucks
I don't know
because
about that. James Cook had an amazing year. Dion Dawkins,
but he only had 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
Dion
but it
Dawkins
was
is an
half the
all-pro.
yards Henry did, bro.
No,
I don't want to.
I'm not discounting James Cook's year at all, but I mean, you look at just the quality of the players around him. I don't know, and this is no discredit to Lamar Jackson, because you take Lamar Jackson this year, put him last year, MVP, no problem, not an issue at all. Like, we're all clowning him about like how that wasn't even really an MVP season, and it just sort of sucks that like these two MVP caliber seasons really happened at the exact same time, and it was the first time in God knows how long, maybe like 60 years, that like when Baltimore went up against the Bills this weekend, it was the first time in decades that it was clear cut number one MVP versus number two MVP. Nobody knew for sure, but they were both in the running for it, and they're both extremely deserving of it. But I think it's ultimately going to go to Lamar.
Nacc, last word on this?
And I just think last year, exactly what happened. Allen blew his stats out of the water and didn't win because he had a lot of interceptions, but he had a better supporting cast. Last year, Lamar kind of did it mostly on his own, right? Like, he didn't have the running game he had this year, right? He didn't have a 2,000-yard rusher by his side, and his stats were significantly worse than Josh Allen's last year. So I think he got the first team All-Pro, 100%. His stats were slightly better, but more important to the team was definitely Josh Allen, in my opinion, and that's what signifies to me an MVP.
Yeah, I like the fact that he took it on himself. He didn't blame Mark Andrews. But yeah, another rough year for the Ravens at the end of the season. Fab, you have a final word?
Last thing. After Jaden Daniels, after his game against Detroit, I don't know, man. Like,
so I was just gonna so that's a great segue, because I was just gonna say Jaden Daniels has to be the best rookie QB of all time, right? Like, it's bar none, without a question.
I don't think it's close.
Especially if he wins this weekend and actually gets to the Super Bowl as a rookie, it is.
I think he's still the best of all time, and he could lose this weekend.
I don't know. I still go back to like Big Ben's rookie season, to be honest with you, about like how he did.
Yeah, but stats wise, it wasn't good, and he had a top 5 defense. Washington's finished 18th. That was like the differences. Yeah, sure, he won games, but he was throwing for 123 yards a game, you know?
So the top QB rating, sorry, not QB rate, quarterback rating for rookies of all time, Dak Prescott had a 105, and obviously QB rating isn't the end all be all, but just to give some perspective, Dak Prescott 2016, 105 QB rating, 3,600 yards, 23 TDs, 4 INTs. RG3 had a really good year. Obviously, Stroud had a really good year as well. We know Russell Wilson in 2012, that was one of the better seasons, 26 TDs, 10 INTs. But I think if you just factor in, he's in the NFC Championship game, and he beat the Lions.
That's wild.
He beat a Bucs team that I think most people thought he was going to lose to, especially Fab, who's been on Baker Mayfield's ass all year.
Well, rightfully so, man. He's having a great season. Get out of here.
Rightfully so.
Well, Ben also made the championship game in his rookie year.
Yes. I was just gonna say, thank you for keeping me honest.
Keeping us honest with Steelers stats.
Steelers fandom, Nacc. But no, I think we'd all have to agree, like, especially if
it's one of, if not the best rookie season of all time.
And the thing is, everyone was saying how the Commanders, the supporting cast was going to be bad. We're all saying how Caleb Williams had the best situation of any rookie QB ever, not let alone this year. And it was the Commanders, it was new ownership, Dan Snyder, this and that. And my God, his moxie, like, he's so
Kingsbury, man.
Kingsbury for sure, but Daniels is so unflappable. You see him, he looks like nothing phases him whatsoever. So that game was just an amazing game plan, amazing game from Daniels. Is there anything that stood out to you guys in the Lions-Commanders matchup, aside from Daniels?
I think the fact that, like, the Lions were just punched in the mouth and just couldn't get back up. Like, it was just okay. I did mention it in our chat that they had a lot of injuries on defense to overcome, which is huge, and especially getting down to this time of the year. But man, oh man, they did not have an answer for Jaden Daniels in that Washington offense. And then they just went for it on fourth down, I think, it looked like every single time. And just when you thought they'd kick a field goal, sends the offense back out there. I love the aggressiveness. That's what I took upon from the game, the aggressiveness to win instead of playing to not lose. And ultimately, like, it's working for them, and they're definitely gonna. I feel like they're gonna keep that going for sure.
Their defense really showed up.
Yes.
They had their rookie safety that was really that made a huge impact on the entire game, like winning the turnover battle. I think Goff had 3 INTs and 1 fumble. So that right there, it's always gonna put you in a fantastic position to succeed. You got to win the takeaway battles, especially in the playoffs, and doing that in Detroit against a team like the Lions right now. I mean, yeah, it was more of a statement win than anything else. I feel like, especially from a defensive standpoint, because like Nacc, you hit it right. Like their defense isn't exactly, you can't crown them as the best defense this year, but they showed up when they needed to. They game plan appropriately, and they're going to need to do the exact same thing against the Eagles this week, quite frankly.
Yeah, I thought Ben Johnson lost him that game, to be honest. He should have kept running the ball with Jahmyr Gibbs, and then he got too ahead of himself. I don't know.
They got too cute, man.
He got too cute. Not, and it's not just the Jameson Williams play, but just throwing it. And I think I was listening to a podcast today, and a lot of people were saying they should have played ball control. They should have seen how much Jaden Daniels was marching down the field, scoring at will, scoring fast, and they tried to match him score for score. And yet, if they had just stuck to the run, they would have controlled the ball, less Jaden Daniels on the field, and given their defense a chance. They weren't giving their defense a chance, depleted defense. So
it's crazy to say that. Keep Jaden Daniels off the field. We're talking about a rookie.
I know.
It's crazy to hear that.
True though, man.
No, for sure. But it's crazy to hear.
Yeah. Anything regarding, I mean, Chiefs Texans, I think that's Mahomes just flopping all the time. That's super. I can't take it anymore. And that
one was bad. I did not like that one.
Yeah,
it was on the sideline where he like fell over, kind of thing. Like you saw it was clear embellishment.
Well, he's gonna get those 50-50 calls now for like the rest of his career.
He's gonna get an ACL
like that.
He's gonna get an ACL because, like, I don't want to sound like Guido, but he's gonna get an ACL one of these days. I don't think there's much to talk about that game. It's Chiefs being Chiefs. Any final thoughts before we get into the previews on the Eagles and Rams?
Just that on that one game he broke. He broke the record. Jerry Rice's record, most 100-yard games in the playoffs. Travis Kelce.
I feel like
pretty significant.
Texans. I feel like the Texans lost that game more than the Chiefs won it. I feel like their special teams. Listen, they missed those 2 field goals, which would have made a difference, and they got that big. No. I'm saying
they weren't winning. They weren't going to win that game.
Chiefs are not as scary as people make them.
The Texans were not going to win that game.
Like, Texans are not a great team.
But what makes the Chiefs scary is that they win 1-score games, and they've won 16 straight games now.
Yeah, but that
1-score games, that's a scary team. I'm sorry.
Buck at some point.
It's the playoffs. Teams aren't supposed to be high scoring, unless it's the Commanders and Lions. Like, otherwise, 1-score games are kind of the norm, and
they win those.
They've done it so much. I give them benefit of the doubt.
To be honest with you.
Go ahead. Sorry, Fab.
I was gonna say the Chiefs and the Texans. That game was a lot closer than I expected it to be. Like, I know, like, they win by 1-score games and all that stuff, but
I mean, they were up by 11 before that safety.
Houston left a lot of points on the field. Yeah, but Houston left a lot of points on the field. It would have been a much different scenario if they would have.
Yeah, but you can say that about every team, right?
When you play, but you're playing the Chiefs though. You're playing the number 1 seed, right? Like, it's this number 1 seed now that says like, oh, they.
Yeah, Houston was never winning that game, bro.
Fab.
No, they weren't, but it was
Fab,
a lot
how much
than they scored.
How much did this hurt?
I'm sorry.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the game
over here. But what do you want?
Let's move on to the game that really. Fab, how much did this? Seeing Saquon do this, I got so fired up when he was just like hitting his head
when he was running.
Oh, that was so cool.
He's a mutant, bro.
Oh, that was so cool, man. I love that.
He's a mutant.
He's so hard to hate, and the people that do hate him, like, reevaluate your life, because he's such a fantastic pro on and off the field, man. Even if he plays for the Eagles, honestly.
Daniel Jones and Shepard were there to watch him.
Dude, man, what does that say about the guy? Like, come on, like, I don't just. Anyways,
what does it say about the Giants organization?
Let's nothing. We don't need to say
I
anything
mean,
more about
do
them.
we really want to bring this up? Do we
I
really
can't
want
believe
to?
that. I
Do we
don't want
really
to
want to
pay
bring this up?
Saquon $13 million. All right.
He was never going to perform that way with the Giants, though. But mind you, it's a different
Well, I mean,
conversation for another day. No, he was never going to put up 2,000 yards with the Giants. Please, never going to put up 2,000 yards with the Giants.
No.
Never.
Unless we had lost 3 more games and gotten Jaden Daniels, maybe we would have.
Yeah,
Let's
thanks,
move
Tommy
on.
DeVito. If you're listening, thank you.
So, first NFC Championship game we're going to preview. Obviously, Commanders at Eagles. The early line has the Eagles favored by 5.5. Eagles have won 3 of the last 4 matchups only by an average of 5 points. So this line actually makes a lot of sense, and they split the season series 1-1 each game. Fab, I'll start with you. What are some of your keys to the victory to victory on either side of the ball?
Okay, so Washington run defense is very not good. So I think the key for Philly for Philly to win this game is going to be basically what they've been doing the entire postseason, which is just hand it off to Saquon Barkley. Washington ranked 28th in TDs to running backs, and they're ranked 32nd in average yards before contact. I mean, they're not very strong up in the middle either. So this is their key to victory, in my opinion. Plus, I think Hurts, downplaying whatever injury he has, Hurts is going to have to throw for more than 118 yards a game to do anything, quite frankly.
You'd say so, but then Josh Allen had 123, right? Like, I feel like the running back is back in the NFL right now. Teams are relying on the run, and and sorry to cut you off, Fab, but I feel like I was a bit hard on Hurts. It's like, what are you doing? Like, can you actually win the ball game? But the Eagles are relying on what they do best. So it's natural that he doesn't need to win the game. It's natural that they don't have to throw the ball that much. So
that is a good point. However, yeah, then I can come back and say that Washington have a very good offense, but so did the Rams. I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with you on that, but I just feel like, I mean, you gotta. I don't know. I feel like he's playing injured, and they might have to rely on that a little bit more, in my opinion. Plus, they play a lot of man Washington, and they should start playing zone a little bit more, which is going to reduce the chances of Jalen Hurts having any sort of a game, and even AJ Brown too, who's ranked very well versus man. Washington play the 8th most man. Obviously limit Saquon Barkley. They have to get to Jaden Daniels, who's super elusive. Like, they're not going to be able to sack him 5 times. I don't think so, like they did with Matthew Stafford.
Jalen Carter was a dog, man. Like, he was an amazing
beast. He was
100%.
Two sacks,
you
forced
guys
fumble.
just mentioned it before. You saw Daniels, how he is in the pocket. You can't. He has the moxie. You can't rattle the guy. He hasn't taken he's taken 1 sack in 2 games.
Nacc, what do you think? What are some of your keys?
Yeah, basically, for the Commanders to win this game, or for the Eagles to win this game, should I say rather, can they force the Commanders into 3 third and longs? Because on the year right now, they have a 87% conversion rate on 4th down to the Commanders, which is absolutely insane. The stat does not make any sense. 87%, for those of you who didn't hear that, conversion rate on 4th down. So you got to believe anything 4th and 3 or even 4th and 4 and shorter, the Commanders will be going for it. And I would not be surprised if they even went for 4th downs on their side of the field, hovering towards that 35, 40-yard line. So that's a big key, big key for the Eagles. And can they contain Daniels on the run? So he's had 13 rush attempts in the wildcard weekend and 16 actually last weekend. And he's out rushing running backs right now on his team in terms of yards and attempts. And he had 81 on the ground in the last meeting versus the Eagles this year. So obviously they weren't able to contain. I think that was on 9 attempts as well. So he had some pretty big chunk plays, and he actually it was at that last drive. Remember that last drive to win the game? He put the team on his back, and he had some big time throws and some big rushes on that drive.
Yeah.
And honestly, for the Commanders to win, it's we alluded to it, Fab. It's stop Saquon Barkley. That's their game plan. They are going to run Saquon Barkley upwards of 29 to 30 times a game, and he had 146 yards and 150 yards with 2 touchdowns in each games against the Commanders this year. So he's seen success versus them, and I think that's going to be one of the main keys to stop for the Commanders to win.
Just want to add Cosme, the right guard, the starting right guard. He's out for the season. He tore his MCL for the Washington Commanders. I think that's going to be a big issue for them because he was. I don't know if he made the. I think he made the Pro Bowl, but I'm not sure if he made All Pro. But he was their starting guard for the entire season. He was playing very, very well, and he's out for the whole season. He's out for the rest of the playoffs with a torn ACL. So it's going to be a big problem for Washington.
So that's a great point, Fab, because I think Detroit lost this game because they sent too much blitz, because they can't get pressure with 4. And I think that's the main key for the Eagles, which they've been able to do all year. They can get pressure with 4 guys. If you try to blitz Daniels, he's either going to run for the first down because all the defensive backs are turned. Their backs are turned to the quarterback and they're just running down the field to wide receivers. Or he dropped it to McLaurin. He dropped the pass to Damani Brown. Like I think it was in the second quarter. That was like the pass. That was like the throw of the game, right? So to me, that's the main key. If they could actually pressure him with 4, play some zone, have a spy, I think they can contain him. And personally, I trust Fangio more. I hate to say it, but I trust even Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore more than Ben Johnson, who to me it's just, I feel like Moore will stick to the game plan. They will run. They have no choice. They know they have Saquon Barkley.
100%.
They know that they could just run him 20 to 25, 30 times down their throat. And they're not going to waver on it. They have not wavered on it all season.
No. But in a shootout, man, you hate to say it, but I would give the edge to the rookie.
Yeah, Jaden
Daniels in a shootout. Like Hurts is, I don't think he's gonna be able to keep up with Daniels if he starts scoring at will.
No,
agreed.
And actually, cool stat: the road team in the playoffs this year is 2-8, and Washington has those 2 victories.
That's a very nice stat.
Yeah, all the other teams are done.
So, Nacc, where are you leaning based off of that last key stat?
I'm taking the points 100%. 5.5. I will take the points and run with those. I don't think. Look, Philly could still win. I'm not going to say that they're no slouch. Like they're a legit team, legit contender for the Super Bowl. I think the odds came out today, and they are the favorite as of right now, even over the Chiefs.
Wow.
But I like this game to be close, man. It's going to be one of those last possession type of games, kick a field goal to win, and who knows who's the quarterback that's going to come out clutch. But man, Daniels you got to love what he's doing, and to put up 45 on the Lions in their house, like that's saying something. And I think as we alluded to it, he looks poised, and he does not look flustered ever. He looks like a seasoned vet. Like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If you're giving me 5.5 points, I will take that and run all day long.
Fabio.
Quinyon Mitchell, he's about 50-50 to play this week, eh? Like it's not guaranteed. So I think that also gives that would give an edge to Jaden Daniels, but it's plus Hurts is still hurt, pun intended. I'll take the Commanders straight up. I know the Eagles haven't allowed 23. Yeah,
get out of here, dude. I did that last week. Get out of here.
Why? Okay, fine. I'll take the Commanders. Fine. I'll take the Commanders to beat the spread. Okay. Jaden Daniels completing 70% of his passes. Let's go. But mind you, the Eagles haven't allowed 23 points to score on them since week 5. So that's my only concern. But I don't know, man. The Commanders feel destined a little bit. Road Warriors and all that stuff. Fun fact, since we're talking about fun facts, this is the first time since 1986 that the NFC Championship game is between 2 NFC East teams.
Since what, 1990?
1986.
86. That was the Eagles and Giants, right?
Sure. Yes, let's go with that.
Joe Research.
Joe Research just came up with a stat.
Take it up a notch. Just
Joe Research came up with a stat. Yeah, like Eagles and Giants. Yeah, Eagles and Giants. Yeah.
It's also the what is it?
The year of my birth. Who said that?
Is it the 28th straight NFC Championship that does not feature the Dallas Cowboys? 1996?
On that note,
29.
I saw a nice stat today that said both Jaden Daniels and Hurts were born, lived their lives, and made it to the NFC Championship before the Cowboys did. Again,
They will both have kids, and their kids will have kids.
And those kids will also go to the
also
NFC Championship
they're the
game.
last team. What was it? The Cowboys are the last team not to make it in the last whatever years it was. What was that stat? Every single NFC team has made a championship appearance in the last. I don't remember what it was. What was it?
2010.
2010. There you go.
2010.
Since
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah, that was the Bears.
Every NFC team has made it now because the Commanders made it now.
Wow.
So every team since the 2010 has made an appearance except for the
really
Cowboys.
Impressive. That's actually really impressive. It shows you the parity in the NFC versus the AFC. I'm gonna go Eagles minus 5.5. Again, I mentioned it last week. The Eagles have a 10-point scoring margin on the year, and good point mentioning Quinyon Mitchell. We didn't mention the secondary at all for the Eagles, but I felt they played really well despite Stafford getting 324 yards. That was like a really tough 324 yards. For prop bets, since I did my... Go ahead, Nacc, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say they were about 17 yards away from collapse, the Eagles. People forget, right?
Yeah.
Like they let them come down the field and then got the ball back, and there was a penalty that could have easily been called on the Eagles on that last drive. That wasn't. They were 17 yards away from collapse at home. So
to that point, that's where I felt the drive the drive where they had to punt it, that's where it hurts. I felt should have done a little bit more. He didn't do enough in that drive. Go ahead, Fab.
I just want to say we're not mentioning the weather at all here, and the weather played a huge factor for Philly. And I don't know if they're going to be as lucky this time around because Washington typically do play in cold conditions as well, right? Whereas LA, not really. They play in LA. You saw a lot of you saw a lot of mishandled fumbles. You saw a lot of handoffs that didn't do well. You saw I think it was like home field advantage right now really plays in their favor, and that type of game that they do plays very well in cold weather conditions. I just felt like that bailed them out a little bit, just like similar to Nacc's point there. I don't know if they're going to be as lucky this time around.
It's fair, but Daniels has already run 2 road games as a rookie. Like the weather is a different animal.
I'm still pinning Daniels to win here.
Yeah,
I got my Commanders money line bet over here going on.
So quickly, guys, the prop bets. I'm gonna go Saquon Barkley 2 TDs plus 240. He's had 4 TDs against the Commies this year. 2 in each game.
Yeah, 2 in each game. Yeah.
Fab.
Is that their nickname, the Commies?
Who calls them the Commies? Is it McAfee?
You just did them twice.
No, but like I heard I listened to a podcast.
Would you go back to the Redskins, please? This makes it easier.
Commies is worse. Is Commies really worse?
Calling a team a bunch of communists, I would think so. We're not going to get into politics though. Like Donald Trump.
I wasn't even thinking of communism.
It's fine.
Fab, what's your prop bet?
Jalen Hurts under 83 and a half passing yards, paying minus 10. Since week 11, he's only passed over 108 yards once.
Paying 110 maybe?
Yeah, I heard minus. Yeah, 110.
I said minus 110.
I heard minus 10. But it's okay.
I'm sorry, minus 110.
I heard minus
my bad.
as well. But I figured.
I'm excited, guys. What do you want me to tell you? And I also have Austin Eckler.
Joe Money.
It's okay if I can do a second one.
No, it's not. We gotta keep rolling. What is it?
Rushing and receiving 75 plus yards, paying plus 375. He went 8 for 89.
75?
Plus 375. Yeah.
Just go with
he needs 75 yards?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not getting that, man.
Rushing and receiving. Really so he went 8 for 89 just off receiving against Philly in week 11. And he totaled 88 yards last week versus Detroit. So
okay, so good value then.
Yeah, nice. Some not impossible.
You did some more research. I like it.
A little bit more.
He buried the lead as well. Nacc, what's your prop bet?
My prop bet is Jaden Daniels over 10.5 rushes. As I mentioned earlier, he's averaging 14.5 rushes per game in the playoffs. So I think he definitely goes over that again on Sunday.
Very good. Can't wait for this one. And then
what is
we have
payout?
These. Payout is minus 135.
On the ball, Fab. On the ball.
Someone has to be. Jesus.
Can't wait for this one. It's going to be fun. Both games are going to be amazing. Then we have the AFC Championship. This is the fourth meeting between the Bills and Chiefs. This is Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder against Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward. The Chiefs opening as 1.5 point favorites. Bills won the previous game this season 30-21. Bills have won the last 3 regular season games. Chiefs have won the last 3 playoff matchups. Nacc, our resident Bills fan, Joey Josh Allen.
And honestly, that game seems closer than it was. That score, that 30-21, but that game was not close at all. They got destroyed. But look, they always get destroyed, or they always lose to the Chiefs in the regular season, and then they see them in the playoffs and they get their revenge. So, my keys here is can the Bills continue not turning the ball over? No turnovers in the past 9 games. So that was the knock on Josh Allen last year. Way too many turnovers, interceptions, fumbles, and this year he has kept the ball and he's protecting the ball. And I think I don't know if you guys saw that play where he rushed the goal line. I think they were about 3 yards out. He got turned around and he was about to flip the ball to James Cook. Well, old Josh Allen or last year's Josh Allen may have done something stupid and fumble and blown the game. But this year he looked at it and said, nope, I'm going to tuck it. I'm going to take the sack and move on. So I think that's going to be one of the keys for them is not turning the ball over. And then for the Chiefs, it's going to be can Mahomes and Kelce continue their playoff dominance? As I mentioned at the beginning of the pod, Kelce just broke Jerry Rice's record for most 100-yard games in a postseason with 9. That was his 9th 100-yard game. And he has 172 catches, 2,020 yards, and 20 TDs in 23 playoff games. That is ridiculous in stats-wise. And just when you thought this guy couldn't play anymore, and like I would never draft him in the first round in fantasy, but when it comes to playoffs, I think I would draft him first overall.
No one
almost.
would. No one would.
Yeah, well, some people would. But he's just in the playoffs. He just comes alive, and I think Rod, you alluded to it last week. They kind of maybe like held him back purposely for these playoffs.
They load managed him.
They just load managed him in a way exactly
Joel Embiid.
Playing. Well, not to that extreme.
Tim Duncan, circa 36 years old.
Yeah. And then just one last thing, could they contain Allen running? Basically, he had 55 yards and a touchdown in their previous matchup this year. So can they contain him and keep him in the pocket rather than walking and running around the field? So I've got the Chiefs -1.5. I just can't bet against them, man. It's just until the dragon is slayed, it's tough for me to put money on the opposing team. Although I do think Baltimore has a great chance to beat them. I think this is the year, if any year.
Buffalo.
What did I say?
Baltimore.
Buffalo. I think this is the year. Like he's got to get over the hump. I think he's got a good chance to do it, but I just wouldn't bet against Mahomes in the AFC Championship.
Great analysis, Fab. What do you think?
Well, for the Chiefs, it's threefold. First, you got to increase the bribes for the refs. You got to offer free tickets for the Swifties, and Jackson Mahomes has to have an halftime show. I think that's really going to make a big difference. No, I'm kidding. Their pass D has to play a little bit better for the Chiefs at least. Despite Stroud getting sacked 8 times last week, he still threw for like 245 yards. The Chiefs are going to have to live in the middle of the field. Short passes where Buffalo D is especially poor. To Nacc's point, it's going to be the Kelce Mahomes show. I feel like it's Bills D is very soft versus the tight ends. They're ranked 27th versus tight ends. Chiefs have better defense, better special teams, better coaching than Buffalo. I think those are all going to be major factors for their win. For the Bills, just like Jalen Hurts, Josh has to throw the ball a little bit more, right? But the fact that he's super elusive in the pocket, we all know this. Hold on, what do I have over here? Chiefs get pressure 8th highest rate in the NFL. Allen has 406 scramble yards this season, which is 3rd best among quarterbacks, right? So I'm not too concerned about the pressure for KC just because I think Josh Allen's be able to manage that appropriately. Turnover battle is huge. Honestly, where's Amari Cooper? Can someone tell me where that guy is? Like in 2 games, he has like 3 receptions.
Don't need him.
I guess not, eh?
They don't need
I
him. They're
guess
running
not.
team.
They're Deontay Johnsoning him.
And
Like
he spreads the ball, man. Like
he does. No.
apart from Khalil Shakir that gets over like 5 catches a game, like the rest is not.
Yeah.
Like Curtis Samuel got a couple of key ones.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper had 1 catch.
So actually, that's a great segue. That's my key: is can the Chiefs make Josh Allen be the old Josh Allen, where, to your point, Nacc, he spreads it. He doesn't go big game hunting. This year, more than any, it's yards after catch. It's short throws. Let Shakir run with it. Let Samuel run with it. If he needs a bomb, he'll go to Coleman here and there. And again, Cooper hasn't really been a factor at all. But another thing I'm just curious about is Spags going to send as much pressure as he did with Stroud? Stroud got sacked, 8 times?
8 times.
I think it was 8 or 9 times.
8 or 9 times, but obviously we know how bad the Texans' offensive line is. Is he going to want to send pressure to speed up Allen? Is that the right course of action, knowing that he could scramble, knowing that he's willing to take the check down? I don't see him reverting back to the old Josh Allen with interceptions, but I think a game this close, it's going to be the turnover battle. Kelce, against the Bills, 26 catches, 289 yards, 5 TDs in the playoffs against the Bills. Like, if they stop him, I think
I'm sure he has that stat line against every team. He's ridiculous.
If they stop him, they win. Fab, what's your pick?
So despite all that, I'm picking the Bills to win. Money line, let's go. I'm going with my heart over my mind. I know everyone likes the Chiefs, their destined team, but not Josh Allen. I think he's going to win one out. I want him to win, and he's going to win because I said so, and that's it. They're going to force a turnover battle like they did against Baltimore. They're going to make Chiefs make some mistakes. The Bills are going to win. The Bills are going to win. The Bills are going to win.
Nothing to do with him having Josh Allen in his playoff pool, though, ladies and gentlemen.
Quite frankly, I have no idea what you're referring to. Do it for me, Josh. Do it for me.
Like Nacc, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs -1.5. I just can't pick against them until I actually see it. Once I see it, then maybe I'll change course of action next year. But until then, it's hard to bet against the Chiefs. And in terms of the prop bet, similar to how I did with Saquon, I'm gonna go with Travis Kelce, 2 TDs plus 850. So
wow, that's a big one.
So 2 out of 3 games against the Bills in the playoffs, he's had 2 TDs.
I like that one. I think I'm gonna have to bandwagon on that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, Fab, what's your prop?
I got another Travis Kelce prop actually. So I got a 3-leg combo prop on Travis Kelce, over 6.5 receptions, anytime touchdown, and over 68.5 receiving yards, all paying plus 320. I don't see how that doesn't cash. 6.5 receptions, anytime touchdown, 68.5 receiving yards.
And how do you expect me to write that on our Canva?
Oh yeah. Okay. So you take the other one. I have another one. I'll give you another one.
Man, we pick on Fab so much.
I have another one. I got another prop bet.
No, you can't have 75 freaking prop bets, man.
I only have 2. Learn how to count
for the rest of us.
Just because you got a mustache now doesn't mean you can berate me like that. I got a Ray Davis anytime touchdown plus 600. He was injured. He got concussed in the first game versus Denver. He came back last game. He was much more involved in the running offense. And he got that touchdown. I'm like, you know what? I think that continues. They're going to have to play.
I think they're involving all 3, which is nice.
Yeah,
well, I was going to say that they're going to have to start involving like their running backs much more. I feel like for them to carve out a decent chance of winning.
Beautiful. Like it's really nice. Nacc.
I have Xavier Worthy 50 rushing receiving yards at -155. He had 68 total yards in the first meeting. Man, as much as I would love to see Josh Allen get there and win one, how cool would it be to see a three-peat? Like something that's never been done.
I'm rooting for a three-peat. I'm rooting for them to do it, and then I don't want to root for them ever again.
No, I'm not rooting for a three-peat anymore.
After that, I'm done. Like I don't want them to.
I don't know, man. To win 4 times in a row, like
I'll respect them, but I don't like. I rather
imagine they do the reverse Buffalo.
Yeah,
win 4 straight instead of lose 4 straight. That'd be something.
It's the reverse.
Josh Allen can change all that this weekend.
The reverse Raj.
Great analysis, guys. That was really fun. So actually, we're taping this on Monday, so this will go out on Thursday. Hopefully, there's no injuries, which will change our prop bets. But yeah, looking forward to the AFC and NFC championship matchups. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Really appreciate it. You could always find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. TikTok is back. Thankfully,
TikTok is back
after an hour hiatus.
Yeah.
the memes on how TikTok left and TikTok was back were amazing this weekend. On behalf of Nacc, I'm Raj, and on behalf of Fab too.
What the hell, man?
Doing the outro off the cuff is a bit different without reading. But,
you forget that I'm on the podcast? Wow, guys.
Well, it's because you have like 10 parlays.
try.
You have 10 parlays and 10 prop bets. Like,
excuse me for being prepared. I even have some random notes that I can't even get to right now, but that's okay. That's fine.
The floor is yours.
The Kirk Cousins curse. You ever heard of that?
Oh,
No?
yeah.
Kirk Cousins is a sports superstition that states that no NFL team that loses to Cousins in a season will win the Super Bowl that year. The curse began when Cousins entered the league in 2012. Examples are Cousins beat the Packers and the Giants. Giants lost to the Packers in a wild card in 2016. The Packers lost to the Falcons in the NFC Championship. Anyways, all this to say, Cousins beat the Eagles this year. Ergo, the Eagles will not be making the Super Bowl nor winning it.
They don't make the Super Bowl, or they don't lose the Super Bowl,
Well,
or they don't win the Super Bowl.
They don't win the Super Bowl. But
Okay,
I'm
so
also
he could
saying they're not
technically
gonna
win this weekend then.
Yeah, but they're not gonna win. Jaden Daniels.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sorry.
Want me to continue?
You done? You have another prop bet or something?
No. I'll leave it for the guy who. It's fine. I'll leave it for the
On
host.
behalf of Nacc and Fab, I'm Raj. Thank you so much for joining, guys. We'll be back the week after with the Super Bowl preview, maybe a Pro Bowl preview, maybe some other fun stuff. Stick with us the entire year, the entire way. We're going to have a ton of fun content during the off season and obviously through the Super Bowl. Thanks, everyone. Cue the music.
Peace out. We're not doing a Pro Bowl preview. What are we going to preview?
Pro Bowl. What's that?
We got a week. I don't know if we want to. We'll see if we do a week, like something during the
We might as well
week.
go over like our 2 early rankings for 2025.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Peace out, everyone.
Goodbye.
Go Bills.